Welcome to Spoken Word, where we let the word speak for itself. I'm Jeremiah, and right now I'm in the middle of a series on women in ministry, where I am biblically exposing the misunderstandings that the people have on this topic. And without realizing it, the Barbie movie has revealed so many of the changes that I've been saying are being pushed today. Changes that the Bible has already established as truth. They say that the movie is supposed to be PG-13 and that it's supposed to be fun for the whole family. But if you will allow me, I want to give you an honest biblical review of what the movie consists of. But let me warn you, for a movie that's supposed to be celebrating a popular toy that millions of women have grown up playing with, it definitely doesn't present the idea that the toy was meant to. This is Spoken Word. So the movie that spent $145 million to make starts off by putting mothers down and diminishing the idea of a little girl one day having a family. And then it moves on to something that should be disturbing to us all, but is hidden under the cover of replacing baby dolls with the Barbie doll. The little girl begins to viciously slam the baby doll's head into the ground before moving on to destroy the tea set because it represents the scenery that little girls set up for their tea parties. As you can see, she's using her baby to destroy the others. And if that wasn't enough, look at how she now kicks the baby away. And before ending the scene, the original girl is now throwing her baby away into the sky. And guess what? This is the first scene, the very first scene of the movie. This is how they open. But just in case you didn't notice it, the message that they are trying to promote in this scene is that abortion is okay. And no, I'm not going over the top. I have a 9-year-old daughter myself, and she does everything with her baby dolls that a mother does with an actual newborn. And that scene right there made me want to go ahead and ask her a question. So I went and asked my daughter, would you ever lift up your doll and slam her head into the ground like this? She said, Daddy, no, I treat my dolls like they're real babies. Why would I ever do that? She said, Dad, you can't be serious. And she absolutely meant it. As adults, we have opened ourselves up to so much that we can't even realize when someone is performing a magic trick in front of us. We think we see it all, but a good magician makes you look over here so that you don't notice what he doesn't want you to see over here. Listen to what the woman who played Barbie said about the director.
There's a real story here about men and women and your place and power. Was that important to you in terms of making this movie?
It's exactly why I wanted Greta to do this movie. I think in a lot of other hands, a Barbie movie would remain surface level. But I knew Greta was going to have a lot to say, and I knew she was going to kind of Trojan horse a lot of big issues within a very fun world.
If our daughter saw this scene right here, they would see it as girls getting rid of their babies. How could they not? Think about it. When it comes to dolls, girls change their diapers. They change their clothes. They feed them and rock them to sleep. And they even go as far as to push them in a stroller. To them, they're babies. But sadly, the world wants them to see that playing with dolls is a bad thing, even though it's really just something to entertain them while also teaching them how to care for someone other than themselves, which is what they're supposed to do. Playing with dolls makes little girls think about having a family, yes, but why is that a bad thing? Playing with dolls is why many mothers today know how to care for the babies that they have. And even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, what happens in the rest of the movie supports what I'm saying. For example, every time the only pregnant woman who is a doll comes on the screen, they give her the face as if she's disgusting. They even make sure that we know that she's a discontinued doll. And she's supposed to be Barbie's best friend. I guess not. You may not realize it, but what they're doing, or by doing that, it sends the message to little girls that having a baby doesn't fit the lifestyle of a powerful woman. In Barbie land, every powerful leader is a woman. They're the president, doctors, Nobel Prize winners, and Supreme Court judges. But what they all have in common that no one is talking about is that none of them have a husband or children, which reinforces that they were able to achieve this because they didn't have kids. They're getting women used to not being seen with a man. But for some reason, people never want to believe that. I mean, come on. The movie is made by Warner Brothers. These directors always have an agenda. And this director is a major supporter of the feminine movement. But let's keep going. Throughout the movie, every attempt is made to show that the man is not needed, and to remove any traditional ideas of what a family should look like. I mean, they even advertise it that way. They say that Barbie is everything, but the man is just Ken. And this wasn't done just to be funny. The movie calls the Ken dolls accessories. And even the director called him that. Which is sad because Ken was created to be a companion or a husband for Barbie. But in the movie, Ken is rejected over and over and never ends up with Barbie in the end. But many won't see this as a problem. How is it that out of 50 plus Barbies in this movie, not a single one ended up with Ken? I keep telling you, it's intentional. Barbie knows that Ken is in love with her, but she would rather have her lifestyle and her friends than to be with him. But that's just a coincidence, right? Well, at some point, something strange begins to happen to Barbie, to where she now needs to go to the real world to help a woman named Gloria, who played with her as a child, to believe again. But in the movie, going there is just another opportunity to attack the men. If you remember, I said that in Barbie land, the women have all of the power. But when her and Ken go to the real world, everything is flipped. The men were in charge and had all of the power. In this real world, the men overly sexualized Barbie because of the way that she was dressed. And at one point, a man slaps her on the butt while she's skating with Ken. Barbie is hit, but Ken is the one you can hear screaming like a girl. The roles are constantly flipped throughout the movie, but we say it's just for comedy, right? And in this world, the men come off as creeps who constantly make sexual comments towards Barbie because of the lack of clothing she's wearing. And of course, this makes her feel uncomfortable, so she goes and puts on more clothes. For Barbie, quote unquote, the real world was a nightmare, but for Ken it was a wake-up call, because being there made him realize that he wasn't just an accessory. He didn't have to be number two. Being there made him feel powerful, which led him to go back to Barbie land, where he completely changes everything in one day. Barbie land now resembles the world he just came from. And while all of this is happening, Barbie was being brought to the company that made her. A company that is led by nothing but men. The movie's agenda at this point is to show the men trying to put women, or in this case Barbie, back in the box that they created. And of course, to really push this idea, the CEO goes as far as to call Barbie a Jezebel, which is a name that signifies a power-hungry, violent, and whorish woman. It's over the top, but it was another way to make men seem like pigs. They really want to drive home that this is how men see women. They love the men versus women thing. And even when they finally convince her to get into the box, they make sure that we see the box as a place of bondage. They want us to see her hands being tied up, so that women see submitting to a man as putting yourself into bondage, or as they say in the movie, becoming brainwashed. When Barbie finally makes it back to Barbie land, it is no longer a world that she left. It is now Kingdom, where the men have all of the power and the women are now the accessories. This sends Barbie into a state of depression, but right when Barbie is about to completely give up, a woman named Gloria, who was played by America Ferrera, is able to snap her out of her depression by giving her a speech about how impossible it is to be a woman in a world where men push such unrealistic expectations on them, even though women do it too. After Barbie snaps out of it, she realizes that trying to live up to the expectations of others, i.e. the men, has caused her to lose her identity, and she has to now help unbrainwash the other women so that they can take their power back and identity. They called it deprogramming Barbie because all of the women in there are Barbie. So they make a plan to free the women from the control of the men, the same men who don't even act like men. This movie completely emasculated the men. They didn't know their role or identity in Barbie land, and anything that resembles masculinity was attacked and seen as evil and wrong. In Barbie land, they would rather the men be feminine than to have them act the way that the Bible desires men to be. Listen to how the men talk.
Oh, looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Ken.
If I wasn't severely injured, I would beat you off right now, Ken.
I'll beach off with you any day, Ken.
Anyone who wants to beach him off has to beach me off first.
I will beach both of you off at the same time.
Beat both of us off?
Nobody's gonna beach anyone off.
Overall, the Barbie movie is a movie where $145 million was spent to promote and encourage women to rise to powerful positions in the world. And while I support women having powerful positions, it should not make them avoid having a family. And the men should not be seen as evil people who only seek to keep women in a box because they want the control. This movie doesn't promote the headship of a family structure that God established. It directly attacks it. I can't tell you how many comments I saw about the anger that women left the movie theater feeling for men. Rather than uniting the sexes, they divided them. Even at the end of the movie, the creator of Barbie is revealed as a woman who is working secretly behind the scenes. This is a symbolism to God. She is a woman who Barbie asks permission to become a human. The creator says, "You don't need my permission." But Barbie responds, "But you're the creator, don't you control me?" But her creator lets her know that she can be and do anything that she desires. Not only are people today trying to say that God is a woman, but they are now pushing the message that God, who is the creator, doesn't have the right to tell you who you are or what you can do. But this is a complete lie. The scripture tells us that God is the potter and we are the clay. The clay can't tell the potter what to make him. The clay can't say to make me a cup. If the potter wants the clay to become a plate, that's exactly what it will become. Because the one who makes it is the one who controls it. God tells us who we are, a holy people, what we are, children of God, what we can do, that which is pleasing to the Lord, and whose we are, God's workmanship. The real reason that this movie is evil is that it promotes everything that God is against. Yes, it may be exciting to the flesh, but that's only because you're not seeing it spiritually. And this is a honest breakdown, my honest breakdown of the Barbie movie. See it or don't see it, but whatever you do, don't let it cause you to see what is wrong as right. I'm Jeremiah, and this is The Spoken Word. Feel free to join me again next week as I continue to break down women in the pulpit. I'll see you next time. Be safe.